name is Michelle Edwards, and the goal of my session today is to get Bob to feel more comfortable talking to his boss about his relapse and the pressures at work. The technique we're going to use to do this is an empty chair technique. This is Bob's second session with me since his relapse. He's come back to me because he's having some difficulty figuring out how to communicate with his boss. Hello, Bob.
Hello.
For this session, how have you been feeling lately first? How have you been doing?
I've been doing very well, thank you. But I don't know what to say to my boss after my relapse. Really a bit nervous about it, and I don't know how he's going to react when I do approach him and tell him about my relapse situation.
Okay, Bob, so what we're going to do today, we're going to try a technique called empty chair. Okay, and so in this technique, you're going to be sitting here as yourself, and this here in the chair, you got to imagine this is your boss, okay? And you're going to have a conversation with your boss, pretending that he's not here, but you're going to pretend that you were talking to him and telling him about your relapse and different pressures at work and that kind of thing. How do you feel about trying that? Okay, so, and this is your boss right here.
Sure, I'll give it a try.
Okay. So you just have to talk to your boss and tell him how you feel?
Okay, Dave, thank you for taking the time to set up a meeting with me today. I just wanted to talk to you regards to my performance at work, and a lot of it has to do with my recent relapse. It has been affected me personally and professionally because of the relapse I recently went through, having some difficulty is focusing on getting productivity and the deadlines met here at work. So I wanted to see if I can make it right and try to focus more on at work professionally, whereas personally I'm going to avoid doing different healthier choices when I'm not engaging in work activities.
Okay, so you've expressed to yourself how you feel to your boss. Now you have to change rules. You have to sit over here, and right now you're going to be your boss, and he's going to be talking to you. This will be you. You'll be an empty chair, and you will be the boss. Okay? You have to take on Dave or your boss. Okay? So could you move over here? And you're responding to what Bob said to you.
Well, Bob, we been having a lot of requests from clients, and the workload is actually starting to get really full here in my office. I'm getting some complaints from clients because their deadlines are not being met. I have to look at the best interest of this business, and I have to be accountable for when my employees, that's namely you, Bob, is not meeting the deadlines. I do take into consideration that you did have some struggles with a relapse, but I ask you, Bob, to make a stand in your life. You're going to have to ask yourself seriously, do you want to be employed here doing your job? Or number two, do you want to allow influences outside of your work that can potentially influence from getting the job done here at work? Your expectations are high. I expect that you meet the deadlines when you are host to them, and I do have high expectations for my staff here. So if you are having some struggles, I would strongly suggest to continue seeing a psychologist to express those personal issues. Unfortunately, I'm not in the psychology field, so I'm not able to give you psychological advice, about professional advice, I wanted to refer you to getting counseling. And at the same time, once you have your counseling figured out, then I would expect you when you come back to work that you work and meet the deadlines that I expect of you. Do you have any questions on that?
Okay, so now in this role, now you'll go back to being Bob, and you'll respond to Dave.
Well, thank you very much, Dave, for expressing your concerns. And I have to admit that I'm being taken work here for granted, and I have to apologize for my past lack of performance here. And at the same time, I'm going to take your advice on seeking out counseling to deal with my relapse problems with my post addiction. In regards to work, I'm willing to put in some extra time or extra hours to meet the deadlines that are needed to be met. So I will continue working with counseling, and once the counseling has ceased, I'm very confident when I commit myself to work that I will return and give you 100% dedication. Thank you.
Okay, so I have a question to ask you. How did you feel when you were being Bob talking to Dave? How did you feel?
Well, after having the conversation with my boss, Dave, I felt a little more at ease, not so, it's not as much anxiety and not much stress, which I thought for sure that when I did confront my boss was actually going to put me on suspension or put me on probation or whatever. He actually understood and acknowledged my problems, and at the same time, he gave me some options of how I can improve here at my work, and the steps that I need to take to achieve the expectations that he expects in regards to meeting the deadlines and getting jobs done and avoiding complaints from our clients.
How did you feel when you took the role as your boss, Dave? How did you feel when you sat in his chair? You were him. How did you feel? What was your emotions?
Well, I understand how my boss is thinking, because I know my boss has been going through a lot of stress too with complaining from his clients, knowing that his employees are not getting the job done in time because they're not meeting deadlines. The clients are not meeting their deadlines of getting the reports and the information they need. When then they have other people complaining to them. So it's almost like a ripple effect. One domino chip falling down to another. And when people are counting on you to get things done and you don't deliver, it's going to make the image of my place of work, it's going to make it look bad, and then that client's going to do their business elsewhere next time. So I know it's very important that I need to step up to the plate, and I need to dedicate myself to assure that my manager's deadlines are being met, whereas he meets the deadlines with his clients. So.
Okay, so from this session, do you think that you're more confident now to go and actually talk to your boss about your issues and get a resolution done so you can move forward in your recovery?
Yes, absolutely. I'm very more confident now to approach my manager, and the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to approach him in a firm, professional way, look at him, face to face. I figure that's, a respectful thing to do when you're talking to your manager. When you have personal struggles and concerns in your life of yourself, my manager, I should say, probably needs to be aware of that, whereas not telling him is only going to make it look like he's going to think that you're a bad employee, and eventually he's going to either suspend you or dismiss you if you're not going to get the job done. Or absenteeism, it's going to get worse because of my addiction, and that's going to affect our work, because the other employees' workloads are going to be doubled because I'm not delivering my part, to balance the workload out. So.
Okay, so your assignment for next week then is I need you to set up a time to meet with your boss between now and next week's counseling session, and talk to him like you talk to the chair here, and then report back to me and let me know how it went. Can you do that?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll see you next Saturday. What's a good time for you? Or when's the next time? Friday? When you want me to meet you again?
Friday at 2 o'clock.
Okay, so we'll touch base again, meet again Friday 2 o'clock, and follow up and see how your appointment with your boss. So you'll have to make a time with your boss between now and Friday, and then we'll touch back to see how it went.
Will do.
Okay, thank you for your time.